Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my review, Married to Medicine, Season 7, Episode 2. So I really just want to jump right in with Contessa and Scott. Before that, it was just quiet in the kitchen trying to cook. Simone came home to her dirty house, trash can full, dishes in the sink. Heavily and her daughter, Alora, at the nail shop, and having their little moment. Her daughter in the past when she was little, like I can't stand a little sassy child, and she used to be really sassy. But her and Damon are the only ones that seem to be able to check heavenly. And I hate to say that in the terms of a child and a parent, but now that she's of age, it's like she checks her mama without being disrespectful. So anyway, moving on to Contessa and Scott, because that's where the meat and potatoes are. Okay, so Contessa's on her way home. She stops at McDonald's. In the meantime, Scott he's finishing up dinner. He's serving the kids, getting them together so they can go to bed. She comes in, and well, I don't know if it was just me, but the kids, they were kind of looking like, okay, mom's home. Like no one was really, how kids like, hey, mommy. They didn't do that at first, baby. They didn't see her. But she comes in, like, hey, hey, hey. Nobody really jumped up but the oldest daughter. So she went and hugged her, and the other kids came. So she's like hugging and kissing on them, and she's saying that she brought them food. And Scott was like, you should have asked, like they've already eaten. So Contessa, she steady talking to the kids, and then she pulls out some French fries and is like, oh, you could take these upstairs and eat them in your room. Honey, Scott put the brakes on that, and he was like, nope, they're not doing that. They've had enough. So she sends the kids upstairs, and Contessa apologizes, saying that she should have mentioned dinner. She should have called them and, mentioned dinner to see if they ate, whatever. And so Scott was like, do you really think I would not have fed the kids by now, like this late? So they started going back and forth, and Contessa started pointing out the mess in the kitchen, the dirty dishes. She started talking about the clothes, saying they don't belong in the kitchen. So Scott looked like he was just over it. So he goes, you need to realize that I get the kids in bed, everything will be clean and put away. So Contessa responded with, no, it don't, or no, it's not. And so that made me believe that this is not the first time she's come home and the house has been, upside down and a mess, and maybe he didn't clean it up. So for him to say, once the kids are in bed, this is what I do, because she's calling them out like, no, you don't do that. So anyway, like I said, they were going back and forth, and so Contessa said, so he reminds her, he was like, look, I work my butt off. Like I go to work and I'm home taking care of these kids. Now let me just say this. Scott, you're doing what all parents should do. Now, considering the dynamics of their arrangement, listen, I'm all for furthering education. I'm all for reaching your goals. But if I'm not mistaken, Contessa mentioned schools that were in the area that she could have gone to. Now, why she chose to go to Nashville, I don't know. But I feel like when you start having kids and you got a family going on, some things that you may have want to do, you may have to take a different approach, a different route. Whatever is better suited for your family as a whole, because at the end of the day, you're doing what you're doing supposedly for your family. Um so anyway, Contessa says that they should have done what she suggested, and that was everybody go to Nashville. Now I don't know how that would affect Scott's job, because he works too. He's a doctor too. So how would that work for him if he had went to Nashville? Is it the summertime? Like, what about the kids with school? So personally, I'm like, why would you uproot your entire family to go to Nashville so you can go to school when you could very well go to school near your house where you are with your kids every day and you guys are, there's not all this tension going on. So anyway, Scott comes with, here you go with this, what do you say, here come Tessa, just because you got this harebrained scam. And I'm like, wait a minute now, what? What, Scott? Let's rewind that. Harebrained scam. So she cuts him off, saying, that was rude, which it was, but you guys know, y'all in the heat of the argument. He's pissed off, he's tired, and I think he's probably regretting agreeing, because she was like, this is what we agreed to do. And I think maybe he's having some regrets agreeing to it. So now it's just this displaced anger, on top of him being worn out. So anyway, Scott's like, you made the decision to go to Nashville. Say, he's working his ass off, and she doesn't seem to appreciate it. So he gets up and he's like, look, she's like, oh, I do appreciate you. He said, look, how about you appreciate some time to yourself? Because don't you have to study? You got to study, right? He leaves, slammed the door, and she's left with a messy kitchen talking about, no, she can't study because now she got to clean up the dishes and the laundry, which is what I think she was trying to insinuate before. So anyway, Jackie and Heavenly are meeting for dinner. Now, I don't know when Jackie and Heavenly became tight, tight buddies, but they were out to dinner and they started talking about what happened at Damon's party and how Simone was acting. Jackie was saying how she feels like she's caught in between her two good friends, Simone and Heavenly, and that she misses, her friends, and was saying, so in her confessional, she was saying that Heavenly should have directed her tweets to Simone and not to Cecil. Because you guys know once you start coming for each other's husband and wives, that is a whole nother arena. So Heavenly was saying that above all, everyone should respect each other, and that she failed at that. Now, let me say this: Heavenly's not my favorite. I don't like this whole, well, everybody knows how Heavenly is. That's just Heavenly. Like making excuses for her. And then she has this whole, I'm still trying to learn to watch my mouth. I'm still trying to learn how to consider people's feelings. You're a grown ass woman. Not only that, you're a mother, a wife, and a doctor. So to act like you have no home training and you have no discernment, no filter, no conscious of what you're saying, I don't buy that. And I hate that they have made this character out of her. Now we haven't seen a lot of it because of course we're just into the second episode, but before it was all, oh, I'm working on me, I'm on this journey. It's like, stop. You need to learn how to control yourself. The same way you don't like people coming at you certain ways, don't do that. So anyway, Jackie was like, yeah, she agreed with them. Was like, yeah, you failed. So Heavenly is saying, I'm not the only one, and was calling Jackie shady for how she was towards Mariah. So Jackie was ignoring her, and so Jackie acts like she is totally oblivious. Like, well, what are you talking about? What did I do? And Jackie, you know exactly what you're doing. You are not Miss Innocent. So anyway, Jackie comes up with this whole idea to get the girls together, have this little tea session, and everyone just basically put all your feelings out there on the table. Let's discuss it. Let's move on. Now, how many times have they done this? Anyway, so Toya has an appointment with Simone for a follow up, and it is at this time that we learn she has suffered a miscarriage. So she said, her and Eugene were really happy. They thought it was going to be the girl that they always wanted. Um, they did show clips of them telling the boys, and they were super excited. Now, to each his own. I don't know if Toya had a miscarriage before, but usually people wait until they're like 3 or 4 months to announce that they're pregnant. But they were excited, and I get it. Um, but yeah, that was a very sad moment to see her, especially with the house coming along and they seem to be doing okay financially, for them to be excited about a baby that never came to be. So anyway, they had a little sombering moment, Toya and Simone, and of course, everything was good. So Toya, I guess to lighten the mood, she was saying how it was awkward to hug somebody that had just been in your vagina that wasn't a man. Now, you know what? I don't know if I could have my friend be my gynecologist. I just don't even understand how that. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But to each his own. So anyway, Quad, Heavenly, and Contessa meet for dinner. And they started talking about working and keeping busy. Contessa started talking about, the situation with her and Scott and how she switched her careers. She wants to switch her career and go into public health and preventive medicine, and how Scott was acting like she was the housekeeper, or what she say, this side chick that he pulled off the street that came in to care for his kids. Now I don't know where all of that came from. Um, like I said, there's things that's probably been going on for a while, or things that behind the scenes, but he didn't act any, to me, when she came in the house, he didn't act any kind of way. He didn't say, all right, you need to cook. He had that straight. He didn't ask her to do the dishes. He didn't ask her to do the laundry or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe she was just venting, or like I said, maybe something had transpired before or outside of what we've seen. So Quad chimes in and she's just like, that's why, she tells all women, make sure you have your own. She's right now, as far as her divorce is concerned, they're in mediation. So Heavenly says she feels Quad needs to date. She felt like she's ready to date. So one thing she did advise Quad, she was like, look, no matter what, do not publicize him. Do not go public, social media, all of that with whomever you're dating. So Contessa with her extra self was like, you haven't been on a date yet? Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know if it's me, but Contessa is so extra. It's like she wants to belong so bad and wants to fit in, that to me she overdoes. Like, she overdoes it with the compliments, she overdoes it with the cheering and the one to go hug, and just she's so animated. She's so animated. Now, she's had run-ins with Toya, of course, and Heavenly, Simone, so she's had words, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. She just gives me overkill. But anyway, so she's like, oh, you haven't dated. You need to go on a date, whatever. So Heavenly asked Quad, what size penis does she want? Is she looking for? So Quad was like, hard and long. Now, I don't know if that was shade towards Dr. G or what, but that was her response. That's what she said she's looking for. All right, so now we are at Jackie's house for this gathering that she called Emergen-Tea. And she invited someone named Alyssa, who was a spiritual mediator, to oversee the group so that she's not caught in the middle, which is kind of, I get it. I see why she would want that, but at the same time, Jackie, you are involved in this mess too. But anyway, she's talking to Alyssa. She's saying, that out of all the drama in the group, that the one that upsets her the most is the drama between Simone and Heavenly, because they were always a threesome. Now, I can't remember when I started watching this show, but I've been watching it long enough where I don't remember them being a threesome. It's always been, Jackie and Simone have always been the tightest out the group. Everybody else, were friends, like interchangeable. Like they would hang out with the other girls, and sometimes someone else would hang with them. But as far as tight throughout it all, it has been Simone and Jackie. Um, Now, so Jackie starts crying and well tearing up, getting emotional about it, and I have to ask, is it because Simone has somewhat distanced herself from Jackie? Because if you guys notice, it's Jackie and Heavenly. Now, Heavenly and Simone not getting along. Maybe Simone feel like Jackie, like I said, it's always been those two. Regardless of what's going on in the group, whoever's beefing with who, Simone and Jackie have just always stuck together. So maybe Simone feel like here you are hanging out with Heavenly when you know what's up. You know the drama between us. So maybe Simone felt like Jackie took sides. Maybe they're cordial, but they're definitely not like they used to be. And so I'm thinking that when Jackie says the situation between Heavenly and Simone is the one that bothers her the most, I'm thinking it's more so because Simone has distanced herself from Jackie, possibly because of Heavenly. That's why she's so emotional over that one. Cause as long as everybody's cool with Jackie, like Jackie prides herself on being the big sister, the mama of the group, if you will, the mediator. Like she do her little stuff, her little shade, but she always tries to be the peacemaker. So as long as everybody is cool with Jackie or act like they intimidated by her or they respect her so much that they won't come from her, Jackie's cool. But as soon as it's a rift and somebody not feeling her and distancing themselves from her, mainly Simone, it's a problem. It's a problem and it's affecting her emotionally. So anyway, so as time go on, everybody starts showing up. So everybody comes in, they're greeting each other. Jackie explains the purpose of the gathering. Um, she has these cards. They look like church fans to me, but she called them cards that have emotions written on them. So she tells everyone to grab them. She introduces Elisa and she explains her role and what she's there to do. So anyway, everybody grabs their little fan. I'm gonna call them fans. That's what they look like to me. Everybody grab their little church fan, and so Mariah goes first. So Mariah says she picked. I'm disappointed, and basically, all in all, she was basically saying she was disappointed. She didn't say any names, but it was geared towards Jackie and the whole podcast situation where Jackie said, "Here's the thing with it. The way Jackie repeated it, to me, it came off as it was truth, and Jackie knew it was truth, and she basically was just asking the question, should Quad have repeated that? It didn't come off like when you don't use the word allegedly or accuse or accusation, when you don't use those words, it's coming off like you know this to be true. And so I think that's what bothered Mariah the most because she did say, to repeat it and don't even bother to come to the person to talk about it, to even see if it's true, to even hear their side. You just repeated something very damaging at that on podcast. So Jackie's looking guilty as I don't know what. She had this look on her face and gonna turn to Alyssa. Now, when she turns to Alyssa, Alyssa says, "Okay, well, do you feel like you can ever get to a place where you can let that go?" And I'm gonna tell you why I didn't care for that. Because the whole, first of all, because it was dealing with Jackie, and I don't know if Jackie gave her the heads up on Mariah or the situation with that. I don't know. However, what I'm saying is the whole purpose of this gathering was for everybody to express their feelings, to talk about what's bothering them, and to come to a positive resolution as a group. Whomever is having issues with the other, Let me say what I got to say. You say what you got to say. Let's understand where each other's coming from, and let's go back to being sister friends. Okay. Not what do you think you can ever get over it? That's not why we're here. Because if that's the case, if everybody's just supposed to get over and not discuss it, what is the point of being in, Miss Alyssa, spiritual mediator? So I liked Mariah's response, and I agree. She was like, first, it has to be acknowledged. And Jackie still wasn't acknowledged. And Jackie knew, and everybody in there knew exactly what Mariah was talking about. And that's what I didn't like about Jackie. She pretended like she don't know what's going on. She didn't acknowledge it. Didn't say a word. So they moved on from that, and then they got to who was it? Toya. No, I'm sorry, Simone. So Simone is saying we all know that we all know her issue is with Heavenly and the whole Twitter beef between Cecil and Heavenly. So Simone was just saying, again, no one's saying names. So she's saying, I confided in a friend some personal things, and um they pretty much put it on social media. Now, I've said before in my previous review that everybody already knew the situation with Cecil, or at least I thought we did. So I don't really. I guess she didn't like the fact. It wasn't like heavily revealed anything though. Everybody knew Cecil wasn't working. I think it was just the dig that she took, which was inappropriate. But they both were inappropriate. Let's say that. So anyway, Heavenly knew she was talking about her. She didn't say anything, and she comes with this whole he who judged whatever. So again, they're not talking to resolve that. I mean, everybody already knows what the problems are, but nobody is really talking it out with the person they have a problem with. So again, how are you solving this? How are things being solved? Okay, so then we get to Toya. Toya Toya was the only one really that talked about herself and what she was doing to cause conflict or not able to diffuse conflict. So she was just saying she was disappointed in herself because she's always been the one to be able to fix the problems, whatever's going on. And she feels like she's stuck. So, of course, she's going through a lot right now with the miscarriage. And then, her and Contessa were friends at one point because she brought Contessa into the group. So, for it to go, and I don't know how tight they were before everything went down, but even if they were just cordial, cool friends, for it to go from that to where it has gone, it is crazy. It's crazy, and it doesn't seem to get any better. Now, we've seen where Contessa tried to make amends with Toya, and Toya wasn't having it. It just seemed like they just could not get it together. And so I think that's what Toya is saying. Like, usually she's the one that, can get it together, whether she's the one that initiated or someone else initiated. Is usually all is forgotten and forgiven, let's move on. But for some reason she is just stuck and can't budge for whatever reason, and so she's admitting that that's something she has to work on. In her confessional, she was saying she doesn't, during this speech, she was saying, maybe she uses the word friend too loosely. And so then in her confessional, she was saying how um a lot of these people are not her real friends, and therefore she doesn't feel like she can confide in them. One of the most traumatic moments in her life in terms of her having a miscarriage. So at this point, Simone is the only one that knows about the miscarriage, aside from her husband. So anyway, then we get on to we get on the quad. Quad, Lord, she starts pulling all damn near all the cars out, all the fans. And she's like, yep, I need this. Yep, I felt like this. And she just go on and on and on. So she starts talking about how she was disappointed and going through, when she was going through the drama with her ex, how she felt like She was ridiculed, she was chastised, pinned to the cross. She just went on, basically saying that they treated her like crap because she wasn't being open about what was going on. And mainly Simone, I mean, everybody had something to say, but at some point, everybody pretty much backed off. They would talk about her with each other and they would make their comments to her, but they pretty much just backed off. Like, whatever, Quad, we ain't tripping, whatever. Simone was the one, and I think it's because Simone was going through her own drama in her own marriage, and probably felt like all her business was out there being played out on camera with her and Cecil, and then here is Quad on the same show, getting paid like the rest of them. Yes, she's not. She's half the time she's there, and when she is there, she's very tight-lipped about what's going on with everything. So I can see Simone, I mean, Simone went in. Lord, she went in on that girl when they were at Heavenly's house. And we later learned that that's Quad's biggest issue with Simone. So, anyway, she's going on. Everybody, they're like rolling their eyes, and the time lapse go, and she's still talking. So, Elisa says, well, maybe half of the problem is that no one is believing what the other is saying. So, when everyone is like, well, you know what? I can't even say apologizing because no one has apologized. Everyone pretty much just said what they're upset about, disappointed about, hurt about, whatever. But there's no discussion going on. And that's what I thought this whole gathering was about. So anyway, I guess she's saying when they do talk and people say, "Hey, I'm changing, or I'm gonna do better, or I feel this way, or whatever," that the other person is just doesn't believe it, and that's part of the problem. Because if you don't believe what the person is telling you, you can't adjust your attitude. You can't adjust your reaction and how you're feeling towards them. So anyway, Quad cuts her off, and she's like, I got more to say, and it's like she was saying, how this one person, they had a connection, they were good friends, she adored her, blah blah blah, and she want to know if they can reconnect. And it's funny because the camera zoomed to Mariah, and she was like, Simone, will you join me, be a part of this, whatever, like basically meet me halfway. So Simone was like, yeah, I can do that. Okay. So anyway, they all get up, they get into a circle of prayer, and Alyssa says a prayer. They're holding hands, they hug afterwards. Even Mariah and Jackie hugged. Mariah still like, look, I didn't appreciate, but she didn't. When Mariah said something to Jackie, it wasn't in a confrontational way, but she wanted to get it off her chest because Jackie is still not acknowledging anything. So she's like, I didn't appreciate that. You pretty much repeated it like it was fact. And I just would appreciate it, had you come and talk to me. So Jackie was like, oh, okay, I get it, whatever. So Simone and Quad hug, and Quad was like, look, can we talk outside of, the group? Now, I thought that they were going to go outside, like, right after that and talk. Now, they never showed that, but I assumed the whole time that that's what happened. So it wasn't until later when they met up, which was very, very awkward. And I'll get into that. So anyway, Quad and Simone meets up later, another day, for dinner. And I have to say, and of course, Quad is late as usual, but she was looking good. I really like that color hair on her. So anyway, she shows up, and it was like Simone. As soon as Quad walked in the door, Quad looked like she was coming in ready to fight. She was ready to argue and get into it as soon as she walked in. It was all over her face, her body language, everything. So this is what was confusing to me because I'm like at the gathering, you were all choked up, you had tears, and you're professing how much how much Simone meant to you and how much your friendship meant to you and how you want to reconnect. So it's like, what happened from the gathering to the restaurant scene that got you so ready to just like windmill on her? Because she had an attitude. She was ready to confront Simone. So again, I thought at the end, after they did a little prayer, and Quad was like, can we talk outside of the group? I thought she was saying, can we go outside? Like, let's step off to the side, which they could have done. But anyway, so Quan sits down and she's just like, she goes right into it. And Simone was like, oh, we really gonna do this? Like, you just no high, no warm up, no nothing. You just gonna come at me. And so Quan was like, yeah, I didn't appreciate, you know, how you treated me at Heavenly's house and the way you came off to me. Like, what did I do to you to warrant you to treat me like that? Now, mind you, this is a situation from last year at Heavenly's house. Now, I will say this: Simone, the way she went off on Quad, when she called Quad a little girl, she went off on her. She really did. She was like, look, this little girl thinks she better than you, her, me, everybody. And I'm sick of it. Now, I don't know how they got down before, but that was pretty intense. That was pretty intense. Now, you would think after all that time they would have got together, or Miss Jackie would have gotten them together and worked it out. Now, at the reunion, because Simone was saying in her confessional that she thought everything was fine, like she's over it. And they showed a clip of the reunion where Simone was talking to Quad, and she said on stage in front of everybody, she was like, look, if you ever need me, I'm here for you. If you ever need Cecil, he's here for you. We're here for you. And Quan shook her head like, okay, she appreciated it. She didn't respond. So here's the thing. You have some people who fight, get in an argument, disagreements, whatever. And instead of rehashing it and going through it word by word, step by step, situation by situation, to just get over all of that, they will just say, hey, you know what? Let's squash all of that. I'm not tripping off of it. I'm here for you if you need me. Please know that. And that's their way of getting back together or making things right. On the other hand, you have people who go through the same fight, same argument, same whatever, and they need to sit down and rehash it. They need to sit down and go line by line, word by word, day by day as to what happened, what pissed them off, what hurt them. They need to get everything off their chest, and they need to dissect it and need for you to explain every step of the way why you did what you did, why you said what you said, and then y'all can come to an agreement to put it behind and let's get together. So you have two different situations, and Simone is with the first group where I'm not going back and forth with you. It happened. It was bad. You're my girl. I'm here for you. My husband's here for you. We got you if you need us. Whereas Quad has been holding this in for a year, and now she's like, I need you to hear what I'm feeling. I want to know why you did X, Y, and Z. And Simone just wasn't having it. But you know what? Honestly, I think Simone would have been okay with discussing it. But Quad was so aggressive. Like, she was like, I'm here and you gonna tell me why you did this and this and this. And Simone was like, we done already talked about that last year. Because Simone at this point is like, okay, this girl is coming at me. You're coming at her aggressive. Naturally her response is gonna be aggressive. So at this point, Simone shuts down like, "No, we already talked about this last year. I'm not going back and forth with you." And then Quad is steady coming. "No, I'm here right now, and you gonna tell me now." So Simone gets up. I was like, "Look, you ain't gonna tell me what to do. I don't have time for this. You did not come here for the same purpose as I did." And so she gets in, Quad. She leans over, gets in Quad face, and was like, "I don't have time for this." So she walks off. Quad is still mouthing off, like, "Yeah, um, you don't have nothing to say, and you running now. You running because you scared." Now I don't know what she meant by that, but trust and believe. There's no doubt in my mind that Simone is scared of Quad. Okay, cause Simone act like she got a little extra testosterone. She may probably can bench press about 175. She is time enough for Quad. So whether it be physical, verbal, whatever, she can hold her own. So I don't know what Quad meant about that, but Simone can hold her own. And I guess she just felt ambushed. Like, I thought we were over this. You're getting choked up and emotional at the gathering. You're the one who initiated and said, "Hey, I want us to reconnect." So here I am, so that we can reconnect, and you coming in here acting like a damn fool, like you coming for me. So I'm totally forced with Simone on this. I don't know what Quad was trying to do, but she missed an opportunity to mend the fences. And like I said, even if she needed explanation, even if she wanted to talk in detail about what happened and how she's feeling and wanted an explanation from Simone, you're not going to get that by coming in there aggressively demanding this. Like, that's just not going to happen. And you know Simone long enough to know that that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I don't know what's gonna come of Simone and Quad. I mean, I don't even know why Quad is still on the show. I guess until her divorce is final. But yeah, that scene was it was unnecessary, because I do think it was a chance for them to work things out, and it just went left, unfortunately. But anyway, guys, that is my review and recap. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, take care.